Hello, I'm Martin Shaw, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the Westcountry School of Myth and Story, based here on Dartmoor in the West Country of the United Kingdom. A little bit about its shape, its structure, and what it's all about. It's 5 weekends dotted around through the year. It begins often in sort of early to mid October, tends to finish around July. And it is a profound exploration of myth, how myth relates to your psyche. You know, that complicated bag of trouble we carry around with us, and the great outdoors, wilderness, and the notion of the word wild. They are intense weekends. Um, I can make absolutely no promises that your life will be sort of a bubble of Zen contentment when we finished. I can make no promises that your life will be simpler when we finished, but you may get to relish the complexity in an entirely new way. You certainly won't get some kind of diploma or even necessarily something that is easily digestible to people around you. Uh, we don't operate like that. We're interested in the business of the soul, and what the soul yearns for, what the soul longs for, what the soul desires, works on a kind of a completely different tempo. People often ask me, is it a storytelling course? And the truth is, and it's a distinction that we often make, it's to do with the business of being a story carrier rather than teller. A teller indicates a vocal vocation, you speak the story. But we are equally interested in what I would call a mythography, or being a bricoleur. Myth cannot be apprehended entirely just by the telling of it, or the writing of a genius exegesis of it. It sometimes needs to be a dance. It sometimes needs to be a piece of art. It seems to be some kind of wild, tangled creative expression. So with that in mind, that probably partially explains why we get a very wide group of people that come. So you've got the lawyer sitting next to the recovering junkie, sitting next to the ecstatic pagan, sitting next to the Church of England pastor, and on and on and on. And we just love that. We love it because stories are not just for the margins. They're not just for one particular type of person. We all need story. Part of the great dissonance and disconnect we feel in culture at this point in time, or society in this point of time, is the possibility that we seem to have fallen out of our own story. We don't know what it is anymore. So we work with three elements to create what we call a culture of wildness, and the culture of wildness is the thought that we are designed as human beings, as breathing, weird, leaping animals, to have a rapacious, joyful relationship to big stories and the wild nature out there, and we need to be anchored within both of them. And if we are not, we are susceptible to huge levels of, I suppose, anxiety and depression. So, and depression is not the same thing as grief. So we study the stories in our devotional way. We regard the stories not as just repertoire, something that kind of skips off the tongue of the teller. They're far bigger and stranger than that. And so we hope the stories will come and we have some kind of efficacious fun while they're here, and some deep feeling. And the stories are wide. We get Romanian folk tales. We get extraordinary Romany gypsy stories, Welsh, a lot of Gaelic stories, right through to these sort of immense Arthurian romances like Tristan and Isolde, or Parsifal, of course. The great crucible at the very centre of Western myth. And what we're really interested in is not some sort of, didactic appraisal of them, although there is an element of study and an element of scholarliness about them. We're really interested in seeing, well, where does the story land within you, your life, your concerns, your passions, your worries? Now, that's not to make the story entirely anthropocentric. It's not to sort of limit it just to us, but it is a profound way in. It is a way of recognizing, wow, how can a story from 4,000 years ago be acted out within me every single day? Because, man, I'm telling you, that seems to be happening. So we're interested in that. And we're interested in going deep into that as a group rather than just as an individual. We're interested in the notion of what we would call oral culture. What happens when a story is spoken rather than read. And what happens to when you have 30 people with their imaginations, their ways into the story, their insights, all cooking at once. It's a kind of a crucible of wild image. And that's what we work out of, at least in the mornings. In the afternoons, you've got to get out of that, and we go out with a kind of bardic intent, actually. Bardic not as anything to do with, white beards and cloaks. We're not interested in the external stuff at all, but we are interested in getting ourselves out into nature and the recognition that nature holds a kind of series of mirrors in much the way that the stories do. And slowly, over time, over the year, the business of becoming a story carrier, these weekends are what you could call foundational stones towards that. You start to just deepen, 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 deepen that relationship. I lead them, and I'm very ably supported by a man called Chris Salisbury, who you may know through his organisation Wildwise Events. He's also the artistic director of the Westcountry, artistic director of the Storytelling Festival, Westcountry Storytelling Festival. And for those of you that are interested in the business of storytelling as well as the practical application of it, Chris is terrific at that kind of thing too. But as I stress, it's not entirely a storytelling course. It's associatively wide, and so whatever you're carrying, if you feel that pull, if you feel that desire to go nearer to story, then this is the place to come. We are near Exeter, so as I sort of wind this up, I have a suggestion, and I'm only kind of half joking. They sell horses in Exeter. They have a horse market there. So why not kind of, let us know maybe that you're coming, but why not go to the horse market? Pick one up, some beautiful wild thing. Why don't you bring some chickens with you? Salad if you absolutely have to. Some wine, some dark chocolate. And make your way slowly up the green lanes right up onto the moor just past Maniton, and you will find us. Because I tell you, until you get there, there will be an empty seat with your name at it by our fireside. So, practical stuff can be covered at our website, schoolofmyth.com. Please come and check it out. And also, I have a diary on there. So every week, every couple of weeks, I'm putting in new essays or ideas or suggestions of folks to check out that we at the school are really interested in. So I think that's it for now. I hope to see you somewhere down the road. Take care. Good night.